कृपा सिंधु भैरव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Hare Krishna. Discussing the scheduled incarnation with specific functions, the seventh chapter of the second canto. In first 25 verses, we discussed so many of the incarnations, and particularly in the last few verses, we discussed Lord Ramchandra. The purpose of Lord Ramchandra's advent, of course, is to vanquish Ravan. And now we will come to the description of Lord Krishna. From here onward, Sutta Goswami will describe the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Bhume sura itara varutha vimarditaya Lesha vyayaya alaya sita Krishna kesaha jata karishyati jana anupalakshay marga कर्माणि चात्मनि महिमा उपानि बंधानिनि. When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair. Twice the word Kesha is being used here. No. One is Klesha Vyayaya, to eliminate or diminish the Klesha. And it is Kalaya. Kala and Amsha. So, with its many plenary portions, Sita Krishna Keshava. So, Sita Krishna. Sita Krishna means, Prabhupada is saying, not only beautiful, but also black. See the way Prabhupada is presenting. Prabhupada is saying Krishna is not black. He's saying not only beautiful, but Krishna is also black. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair. And just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is. Purport. This verse is especially describing the appearance of Lord Krishna and his immediate expansion, Lord Baldeva. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baldev are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is omnipotent and he expands himself in innumerable forms and energies. And the whole unit is known as the one Supreme Brahman. Such extension of the Lord are divided into two divisions, namely personal and differential. Please hear very attentively. The personal expansions are called the Vishnu Tattvas and the differential expansions, Swamsha and Vibhinamsha. And the differential expansions are called the Jiva Tattva. And in such expansional activity, Lord Baldev is the first personal expansion of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. In the Vishnu Puran as well as in the Mahabharata, both Krishna and Baldev are mentioned as having beautiful black hair. Even in their advanced age, the Lord is called Anupalakasya Margaha, or in still more technical Vedic terms, Avan Manasa Gochara, one who is never to be seen or realized by the limited sense perception of the people in general. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.25, it is said by the Lord, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samabhuta. In other words, he reserves the right of not being exposed to anyone and everyone. Only the bona fide devotees can know him by specific symptoms. And out of many, many such symptoms, one symptom is mentioned here in this verse. That is, the Lord is Sīt Krishna Keshaha, or one who is observed always with beautiful black hair. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baldeva have such hairs on their heads. And thus, even in advanced age, they appear like young boys 16 years old. That is the particular symptom of the personality of Godhead. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that although he is the oldest personality amongst all living entities, and he always looks like a new youthful boy. What is the verse in Brahma Samhita? Yes, Ravindra Prabhu and Priyanka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Adyam Purana Purusham Namayovanam cha.
Very good. Yes, Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam cha. He always looks like a new youthful boy. That is the characteristic of our spiritual body. The material body is symptomized by birth, death, old age, and disease, but the spiritual body is conspicuous by the absence of those symptoms. Living entities who reside in the Vaikuntha Lokas, in eternal life and bliss, have the same type of spiritual body without being affected by any signs of old age. It is described in the Bhagavatam, Canto 6, that the party of Vishnu Dutas who came to deliver Ajamil from the clutches of the party of Yamaduts appeared like youthful boys. Corroborating the description in this verse, it is ascertained thus that the spiritual bodies in the Vaikuntha Lok, either of the Lord or of other inhabitants, are completely distinct from the material bodies of this world. Therefore, when the Lord descends from that world to this world, he descends in his spiritual body of Atma Maya, or internal potency without any touch of Bahiranga Maya or external material energy. The allegation that the impersonal Brahman appeared in this material world by accepting a material body is quite absurd. Therefore, the Lord, when he comes here, has not a material body but a spiritual body. The impersonal Brahmajyoti is only the glaring effulgence of the body of the Lord, and there is no difference in quality between the body of the Lord and the impersonal ray of the Lord called Brahmajyoti. Now the question is why the Lord, who is omnipotent, comes here to diminish the burden created upon the world by the unscrupulous kingly order. Certainly the Lord does not need to come here personally for such purposes, but he actually descends to exhibit his transcendental activities in order to encourage his pure devotees who want to enjoy life by chanting the glories of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:13-14, it is stated that the Mahatmas, great devotees of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting the activities of the Lord. What is that verse? Mahatmas, great devotee of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting of the activities of the Lord. Yes, Pradeep.
Prabhu, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivam Prakritim
No.
Asrita.
Okay. But what is I'm asking for this point. Take pleasure in chanting the activities of the Lord. Of course, the verse is mentioned here, but you have to give that relevant, specific part of the verse. What you spoke is not relevant. Yes, yes. Give me that particular point that Srila Prabhupada is hammering here. Don't get bewildered. It is evident. Ramya, you are not hearing today? बोलो, बाकी लोग भी बोल सकते हैं. Yes, Ravindra Prabhu and Priyanka Madhavi.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी भजन्ते अनन्य मनसो
Yeah.
always.
Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Always chanting. This is Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. And what is the next verse? What is the next verse? It is beginning with the same point. तो बोलिए, थोड़े दिन पहले
तेषां तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजितं
No.
प्रीतिपूर्वकम्.
That Tesam Sāci-Sutā is not in the 9th chapter. This is 9:14. Tesam Sāci-Sutā is 10.8. 10.9.
सततम कीर्तयन्तम
Satatam Kirtayan. Satatam Kirtayan. Or Bhajanti Ananya Manasa and Satatam Kirtayan. We don't have to just know the shloka just like a parrot. We should understand the purpose behind which Krishna is speaking. So here Prabhupada is emphasizing the same point. His pure devotee wants to enjoy life. See, by chanting the glories of the Lord. See, this is the enjoyment of the life. Satatam Kirtayanto. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:13-14, it is said that the Mahatma, great devotee of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting the activities of the Lord. All Vedic literatures are meant for turning one's attention towards the Lord and his transcendental activities. Thus, the activities of the Lord in his dealings with worldly people create a subject matter for discussion by his pure devotees. Tokena jiva haranam yadi uluku kayas trayama masikasya chapada sakto apravartaha yadring antara gatena divi sparshorva unmulanam ta itaratha arjunayorna bhavyam. There is no doubt about Lord Krishna being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother? Or overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old? To uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling. All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself. So the Lord creates very uncommon and wonderful activities, which is inconceivable for others to imitate. One cannot manufacture a God by one's mental speculation or by numerical books, as has become a practice for the less intelligent class of people. God is God eternally, and an ordinary living entity is eternally a part and parcel of God. God is one without a second, and the ordinary living entities are many without number. All such living entities are maintained by God Himself, and that is the verdict of Vedic literatures. When Krishna was on the lap of his mother, the demon Putna appeared before his mother and prayed to nurture the child in her lap. Mother Yashoda agreed, and the child was transferred unto the lap of Putna, who was in the garb of a respectable lady. Putna wanted to kill the child by smearing poison on the nipple of her breast. But when everything was complete, the Lord sucked her breast along with her very air of life. And the demon's gigantic body, said to be as long as 6 miles, fell down. But Lord Krishna did not need to expand himself to the length of the she-demon Putna, although he was quite competent to extend himself more than 6 miles long. In his Vaman incarnation, he posed himself as a draft Brahmana. But when he took possessions of his land, promised by Bali Maharaj, he expanded the step to the top of the universe, extending over thousands and millions of miles. So it was not very difficult for Krishna to perform a miracle by extending his bodily features. But he had no desire to do it because of his deep filial love for his mother Yashoda. If Yashoda had seen Krishna in her lap extending 6 miles to cope with the she-demon Putna, then the natural filial love of Yashoda would have been hurt, because in that way Yashoda could have come to know that her so-called son Krishna was God Himself. And with the knowledge of the godhood of Krishna, Yashoda Mai would have lost the temper of her love for Krishna as a natural mother. But as far as Lord Krishna is concerned, He is God always, either as a child on the lap of his mother or as the coverer of the universe. Vamandev, he does not require to become God by undergoing severe penances. Although some men think by becoming God in that way, by undergoing severe austerity and penances, although some men think of becoming God in that way, by undergoing severe austerities and penances, one cannot become one or equal with God. But one can attain mostly the godly qualities. A living being can attain godly qualities to a large extent, but he cannot become God. It's very important. He can attain godly qualities, but he cannot become God. Whereas Krishna, without undergoing any type of penance, is God always, either in his lap or his mother, of growing up at any stage of growth. So at the age of only 3 months, he killed the Shakatasura, who had remained hidden behind the cart in the house of Yashoda. And when he was crawling and was disturbing his mother from doing household affairs, the mother tied him to a grinding pestle. But the naughty child dragged the pestle up to the pair of a very high alna trees in the yard of Yashoda Mai. And when the pestle was stuck between the pair of trees, they fell down with a horrible sound. When Yashoda Mai came to see the happenings, she thought that her child had been saved from the fallen trees by the causeless mercy of the Lord. Without knowing that the Lord Himself, crawling in her yard, had wreaked the havoc. So that is the way of reciprocation of loving affairs between the Lord and His devotees. Yashoda Mai wanted to have the Lord as her child, and the Lord played exactly like a child in her lap. But at the same time, He played the part of an almighty Lord whenever it was so required. The beauty of such pastimes was that the Lord fulfilled everyone's desire. In the case of becoming trees by the curse of Narad, as well as to play like a crawling child in the yard of Yashoda, who took transcendental pleasure in seeing such activities of the Lord in the very yard of her home. The Lord in any condition is Lord of the universe, and he can act in any form, gigantic or small as he likes. Big purport. He's talking about the uncommon, extraordinary activities of the Lord. Yadvai vrije vraja pashun vitoya pita palam sva ajivayad anugraha drishti vrishtaya tatshuddhayati vishavirya vilola jivam uchat uchata yasyad uragram viharan hridayana. Then also when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glass, just to purify the waters of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks? But this is no God. Tatkarma divyam ivyanishi nihasayanam davagnina suchivane paridayamane unneshyati vrajamato avasaitantaकालं नेत्रे विधाप्या subalo anandhigamya virya. On the very night of the day of chastisement of Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Rajbhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves. And it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balram, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the human activities of the Lord. Although in this verse the Lord activities has been described as superhuman, it should be noted that the Lord's activities are always superhuman. Karma divyam. Krishna not only Janma, but all karmas are also divya, superhuman. And that distinguishes one from the ordinary living being. Uprooting a gigantic banyan or Arjuna tree and extinguishing a blazing forest fire simply by closing one's eyes are certainly impossible by any kind of human endeavor. But not only are these activities amazing to hear, but in fact, all other activities of the Lord, whatever he may do, are all superhumans as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. 4.1. Whoever knows the superhuman activities of the Lord due to their very transcendental nature becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of Krishna. And as such, after quitting this present material body, he knows the transcendental activities of the Lord, goes back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, I'll discuss till here and there. So these are the various wonderful pastimes of Lord Krishna being spoken and remembered by Sāci-Sutā Goswami. From your side, any contribution? superhuman activities. No inquiry? Okay, I'll end here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।